Stephen A. Smith, Chiney, Ogwumike, Kendrick, Perkins. I'm Malika Andrews. We're all with you here counting down to a star-studded doubleheader right here on ESPN. But we're also counting down to the NBA trade deadline, which is less than a week away. The level of urgency, it is up. The talks, they are intensifying. So let's check in with our senior NBA insider, Shams Charania here, because time isn't just running out on this deadline, but potentially on the championship windows for two all-time greats, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. How aggressive, Shams, are their respective teams as we approach the deadline here?
Malika, the Warriors and Suns are being very aggressive, and Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, their paths are somewhat intertwined here before the February 6th NBA trade deadline, because the Phoenix Suns and the Warriors are shaping up right now, from my understanding, up to the minute in this NBA trade deadline to being the two likeliest landing spots for Miami Heat star Jimmy Butler in a trade. And the Heat and Butler, they have a goal in mind right now ahead of next Thursday's deadline, and that's finding a trade out of Miami. And the Heat have been engaged in conversations with both the Warriors and the Suns over the last several days and the last week. Also a couple of other teams on the periphery, but that's really where the focus of most of these conversations have been. And the Warriors front office has been operating very opportunistically ahead of the deadline next week. Jimmy Butler, other players like Zach LaVine, Nikola Vucevic as well. And we know from the Suns' perspective, Matt Ishbia, their owner, has been aggressive trying to figure out a championship team around Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. I expect that to continue. The Super Bowl is about a week and a half away. This might be the Jimmy Bowl tonight.
The Jimmy Bowl tonight in the second game of our doubleheader. Shams Charania, thank you so very much. And then there were two. Stephen A., which of these two teams, Shams is saying it's basically narrowed down to the Suns and the Warriors here, need Jimmy more?
Absolutely the Phoenix Suns. Absolutely. Because guess what? Nobody has but so much expectations for the Golden State Warriors. Even with Jimmy Butler, how far are they really going to go? We know about the greatness of Steph Curry, but in the same breath, you look at the rest of the parts that they have assembled, it doesn't speak towards a championship. You got Kevin Durant and Devin Booker on the same damn team. You got talent on that squad. You got size and Nurkic, even a Plumlee, for crying out loud. You look at a guy like Jimmy Butler and what he can infuse inside that locker room. You're going to start thinking about championship, because the one thing that we say about the Phoenix Suns is that they're a bit soft, meaning finesse. They don't have rough riders on their squad. That changes if Jimmy Butler arrives with the rest of the pieces they have.
I agree with you. And I'm looking at the roster outside of KD and D Book. When you talk about the Phoenix Suns, they just got the young fella Richards, who's a live threat, a pretty damn good rebounder. You have Tyus Jones, who is one of the best, floor generals far as knowing his role. Plumlee coming in off the bench. You add a guy that's going to ruffle the feathers. Jimmy Butler is a guy that's going to be an instigator, not a retaliator.
Right.
Again, I agree with you when you say the Golden State Warriors. Even if they do get Jimmy, that doesn't move the needles.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler is the definition of ruffling feathers. We're seeing that right now. But, Malika, you said something that really just answered the question for me. It stopped me in my tracks. There's only a half game's difference separating the Warriors and the Suns. And we all know how depleted the Warriors have been without Kuminga, without Draymond Green, knowing that Steph, Perk, you say this all the time, Steph is the only superstar that doesn't have a number two out there to ride with, right? The Phoenix Suns have that, and still yet they are right next to the Golden State Warriors. That is extremely alarming. Number two, this is the most expensive team in basketball, the Phoenix Suns. They're deep into the luxury tax. You put all your chips in the center, and you're getting this subpar nature in the standings. To me, that's why you make a swing like this to get Jimmy Butler, who's really great at hyper-focus. They need separation, not only in the standings, but separation to win games, and he is that winning piece that hopefully they can get. But I know, as Sean has told us multiple times, it's a little complicated for him to get.
It's complicated because Bradley Beal will have to waive his no-trade clause in order for this to happen. And the question is, does Miami want to take him back, or would there need to be other teams involved? Shams has reported more than likely other teams would need to be involved. I just want to be clear, Stephen A. When you're saying they need to go and get Jimmy, getting him immediately, they've been a top-heavy team. They would continue to be a top-heavy team. That makes them what? Contenders, play-in? Because right now they're not playing.
I think it makes them contenders. I mean, I think it makes them title contenders. I'm going to say this again. I thought Kevin Durant was one of the greatest players ever. I thought Devin Booker was that dude. The combination of the two by adding somebody like a Jimmy Butler is supposed to propel you to another heights. Now, I got a bad rap, and I want to be nice. I want to be nice, America. I want to be nice. I am not trying to be insulting here. I'm just calling out facts.
You sound presidential.
Kevin Durant, I approved that message. Kevin Durant.
Oh, here we go.
Kevin Durant.
He's got the numbers, y'all.
Kevin Durant has gone home in the first round 2 of the last 3 years. The third time around, the only reason he got out of the first round in a lot of people's eyes is because Kawhi Leonard went down. I'm just saying, when you look at the Phoenix Suns, this man is too great to be home in April. He's too great for that. Devin Booker's too great to be home in April. You get that piece, you position yourself to compete for a title.
Well, the Suns, they're 14-9 when all their big three play so far this season.
Yeah, but it's a lot different with Jimmy. Jimmy is an alpha, right? Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, I'm not ready to say and anoint them that
they need an alpha.
They're not an alpha.
And that doesn't mean that they're not great players.
They
alphas
are great.
can come in different forms. You
Right,
can have best
correct.
players that are alphas, or you can have Draymond Greens that are alphas. But lastly, I'll say the only thing that worries me about the Suns, they have the second fewest paint points. So I think like 42 points per game. They're going to need
Jimmy can post up.
Jimmy can post up. Okay, that's your solution. All right.
Who do you have more faith in helping their squad turn around, Steph or KD here?
Well, and just talking about them on their face as individual players, it would be Steph. And the reason why is because I think Steph is more inspirational. Kevin Durant is money. He's more reliable. He's arguably the greatest scorer in the history of the game, just a pure bona fide scorer. But he's one of those guys that you just watch score and put up buckets, and then everybody else can be around not doing their job, and there's no accountability. With Steph Curry, there's accountability because his movement without the basketball, the requirement to get him the basketball, the fact that he's such an extraordinary marksman, it forces others to feel a part of the action, and that serves as an additional level of motivation and inspiration to get others to contribute.
And look, I'm going with Steph. Steph cares. Steph actually give a damn. It's times you put the camera on Steph, they put the camera on Steph on the sideline, you can see the frustration, right? He takes it personal when it's certain matchup. We saw early in the season when Klay returned, we saw how he felt about that. What'd he say?
Yeah.
You don't want to be here? Like, that's who Steph is. Not saying KD is not a winner, but Steph just take it to another level. And I just feel like when you look at this window, and people want to play with Steph. Guys want to play with Steph. Like, he attract people.
Okay, that's interesting. You know, Steph Curry, I think as crazy as it has been for the Warriors this year, he still is leading the NBA in made threes and three-point field goal percentage. But we do also talk about basketball being a team sport. And he's going to need some teammates he can trust. And that's why my answer is Kevin Durant. He still has Devin Booker out there to run out there with, and he's a snub to the All-Star game. So I look at Phoenix. They're teetering on making one move that might put them beyond the playoff picture, but into contention.
Well,
who was the team that you picked this year to come out of the West? Wasn't it the Suns?
No.
I thought it was the Suns. I'm
think
pretty
Suns
sure.
were-
He's having selective amnesia.
I'm coming with a question.
Shirley,
I'm coming with a question.
Come in. Come
How
on.
many times have we seen Kevin Durant standing, free throw extended, elbow extended, and he just stretches his arm out calling for the ball? But you see people standing around, and it's time to stand around and watch him work. There's stagnation there. There's not stagnation with Steph Curry. You can't afford to do that. With his movement,
I have a follow-up question.
You have to get him. You have to be involved.
Which team do you have most faith in turning things around for the second half of the NBA season, Mr. Smith?
It depends on who they get. If you get Jimmy Butler, I'm going with Phoenix.
If the Warriors get Jimmy Butler?
But the Warriors, let's remember what Shams just said to us at the beginning of the show. It's not just Jimmy Butler, that certainly the Suns and the Golden State Warriors are both sort of the last two teams standing, fighting it out. It's also Zach LaVine, that if the Warriors don't get Jimmy Butler, Zach LaVine and Vucevic, that's next on their list.
You know what? Congratulations for bringing that up, because it's the only time this year I've thought about the Chicago Bulls. I never think about them.
Somewhere
Zach
Michael
LaVine,
Wilbon.
listen, here's the deal. Michael Wilbon to get over it. I love him. Zach LaVine can ball, but I marvel at the fact that this guy scores 20 a game, 24 a game. He can shoot from three. He can shoot from the perimeter. He's potent offensively. Vucevic is a 20 and 10 dude. And they're 8 games under 500. They just continue to lose. I don't think about the Chicago Bulls because they don't win, and they haven't done it in a while.
Well, how much do you think about the New York Knicks, Stephen A?
You're damn right I'm thinking about them, what they're going to do to the Lakers tomorrow night.